Hello, everyone. My name is Henry, and today I want to talk about my favorite hobby and how it helps me learn English. My favorite hobby is reading books, and I love it because it is fun, exciting, and it teaches me many new things. But the best part is that reading helps me improve my English every day. When I started learning English, it was very hard for me. I didn't know many words, and I was afraid to speak. But then I discovered that reading books in English is like having a teacher who is always with me. Today, I want to share with you why reading is so helpful for learning English and how it can help you too. Why reading is important. Reading is one of the best ways to learn a language. When we read, we see words, sentences, and grammar. It's like practicing English without feeling like it's hard work. Reading is also fun because we can choose stories that we like. For example, I love stories about adventures and fairy tales, so I read books like Peter Pan and The Little Prince. These books are interesting and they make me want to keep reading. The more I read, the better my English becomes. How reading helps me learn new words. One of the best things about reading is that it helps me learn new words. Every time I open a book, I see words that I don't know. At first, I didn't understand everything, but I didn't give up. I used a dictionary to look up words. Slowly, I started to remember them. For example, when I read a story about a forest, I learned words like tree, river, flower, and mountain. Now, when I see these words, I know what they mean. Sometimes, I don't need to use a dictionary because the story helps me understand the words. If a book says the boy was very sad and cried, I can guess that sad means unhappy. This way, I learn words while enjoying the story. Reading also helps me with grammar. When I read, I see how sentences are made. I learn where to put words like is, are, was, and were. I also see how to use verbs like run, walk, and play in sentences. For example, in one story, I read the girl is running in the park. She runs every day. From these sentences, I learned the difference between running and runs. Now, when I write or speak English, I remember these examples. Reading is like seeing grammar rules in action. It's much easier to understand grammar when we see it in real sentences. Even though I don't speak when I read, it still helps my pronunciation. How? When I read, I hear the words in my head. I try to imagine how they sound. Sometimes, I say the words out loud to practice. For example, when I read a book about animals, I saw the word elephant. I didn't know how to say it, so I listened to the word on my phone. Then I repeated it many times. Elephant, elephant, elephant. Now I can say it correctly. Reading helps me see words, and listening helps me say them. Together, they make my English better. Before I started reading, I felt shy about speaking English. I was afraid of making mistakes, but reading gave me confidence. When I read a book, I see how people talk in English. I learn phrases like, "How are you?" "What are you doing?" and "Can I help you?" Now, I use these phrases when I talk to people. I feel more confident because I know I am saying the right words. For example, one day, I met a new friend who speaks English. She asked me, "What do you like to do?" Because I read this question in a book before, I understood it and I can answer her. I said, "I like reading books." She smiled and we became friends. When I read, I choose books that are not too hard for me. If the book is too difficult, I feel frustrated. But if it is easy, I enjoy it more and learn faster. Here are some of my favorite books for learning English. Children's stories. Books like The Very Hungry Caterpillar and Goldilocks and The Three Bears are simple and fun. They have pictures that help me understand the story. Short stories. Short stories are great because they are not too long. One of my favorite short stories is The Lion and the Mouse. It's easy to read and it has a good lesson. Every day, I spend some time reading in English. Here is how I do it. Read for 30 minutes. After school, I take a book and read for 30 minutes. If I find a word I don't know, I write it in my notebook. Later, I look it up in a dictionary. Reread my favorite books. I like to read my favorite books again and again. Each time, I understand more. Read out loud. Sometimes, I read out loud. This helps me practice speaking and pronunciation. Ask for help. If I don't understand something, I ask my teacher or a friend to explain it to me. I think everyone who wants to learn English should try reading. It doesn't matter if you are a beginner. Start with easy books and take your time. Remember, learning is like a journey. Every book you read is like taking a step forward. Reading makes learning fun. It's like playing a game where you discover new words, ideas, and adventures. It also helps you feel more confident when speaking and writing. Reading is my favorite hobby because it helps me learn English in a fun and easy way. It teaches me new words, grammar, and how to speak confidently. It also takes me on amazing adventures. If you want to learn English, I hope you try reading too. Remember, every book is like a door to a new world. All you have to do is open it. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure you don't miss our next video. We have an exciting and engaging topic lined up to help you practice your listening skills. Click here to watch it and keep improving your English.